Hi everyone, I'm pop culture historian Dave Sundstrom and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm once again talking about one of my favorite television shows, MASH, and in particular the man who played old Ferretface himself, the talented Larry Linville. However, before I go there, first a quick MASH history lesson. The show's origins lie in a 1968 novel by author Richard Hooker, who drew on his experiences as an army surgeon during the Korean War. That book was adapted into a film by director Robert Altman in 1970 and was embraced by audiences at the time due to its dark humor and anti-war themes. The movie, which starred Donald Sutherland and Elliot Gould, with Robert Duvall portraying a more menacing Frank Burns, was a surprise commercial success. In 1972, when the MASH TV series debuted on CBS, it forever changed television with its unique blend of comedy and drama. Over the years, Alan Alda's Hawkeye Pierce became the show's heart and its conscience, with Wayne Rogers as Trapper John initially playing off Hawkeye's wisecracks. Larry's version of Frank Burns was less menacing than Duvall's, and more of a bumbling foil to Hawkeye and Trapper John's rebellious antics. Growing up, MASH was an important part of the Sundstrom family nighttime ritual. Reruns of older episodes would air right after the 10 p.m. local newscast. Way back then, before we had cable TV in our home, the choice was to either end the night with MASH or Johnny Carson. And more often than not, I would choose the gang from the 4077. Anyway, getting back to the topic of this video. Larry Linville's performance as Frank Burns was nothing short of a master class in comedic acting. He made Frank both infuriating and strangely endearing. While I hated the character's self-righteousness and outright hypocrisy when it came to the rules that governed the 4077, I must admit that there were times when I felt bad for him due to his desperate attempts to fit in with the other surgeons who saw him as uptight and out of touch. Truthfully, I think we all know someone like Frank Burns. And if I'm being even more honest, while I don't think I'm as annoying as Burns, I often feel that desperate desire to fit in around other people. Now the big question, and the topic of this video. Was Larry Linville anything like Frank Burns in real life? And if so, did the other cast members hate him? Well, the surprising truth, my friends, is that his MASH co-stars universally described him as a kind, friendly, and cultured individual. In fact, by all accounts, Larry was pretty much the opposite of the uptight character that he played so well. Larry and fellow castmate Gary Berghoff were especially close. Gary described Larry as a Renaissance man who knew about the intricacies of the Egyptian pyramids and once even built and flew his own airplane. And I remember an interview with Alan Alda just after Larry passed away. Alan talked about how Larry was one of the nicest people that he had ever worked with on MASH or anywhere else. Alan talked about Larry's willingness to do anything for the show, and that he was also an extremely generous actor when something needed to be rewritten. Over the years, Loretta Swit has talked about the close working relationship that she had with Larry on the show. However, there have been also a handful of times where she has let down her guard and talked about their relationship beyond the show. In her words, she has called their relationship, and this is a quote, very special. The two of them just clicked, both as actors and as friends. And here's one more, this time from someone who worked behind the scenes. According to former child actor Jackie Cooper, who directed early episodes of MASH, Larry, along with Wayne Rogers, were the two cast members that he felt caused the least amount of problems during his tenure directing the show. Despite the popularity and critical acclaim, Larry left MASH after 5 seasons. There are various theories about his departure. Some say he grew tired of being typecast as the uptight villain. It has been said that Larry got so weary of his character being the butt of everyone's jokes that during his final season on MASH, he quit attending dailies because they were just so darn frustrating for him. You know, if the producers of MASH had just been willing to humanize and soften up the character just a little bit, you never know. It's possible that Larry may have stuck around a bit longer. After all, it's something that they did later on with the Major Charles Emerson Winchester character, and I think by doing so, David Ogden Stiers was able to get a greater sense of satisfaction from playing a character that was essentially designed to be another foil for Hawkeye and BJ this time, with a more elitist and sophisticated air about him. While Winchester was a worthy replacement, and I enjoyed Stiers very much on the show, I've got to admit that there was a certain charm, or lack thereof, to Larry's portrayal of Frank Burns that just wasn't there with Winchester. Larry Linville's career extended way beyond MASH. He continued to act in television and movies throughout the 80s and 90s, often playing unlikable characters that showcased his comedic talent. He was, to a certain extent, typecast. People expected all of the characters that he played to be similar to Frank Burns. I remember reading somewhere that after his departure from MASH, his main source of income was derived from stage work. Now, with all that said, from everything that I've read, Larry never regretted his decision to leave MASH. However, his decision to get married on 5 separate occasions, well, that was another story. Larry once shared in an interview that after his agent, business manager, accountant, the U.S. government, and his ex-wives all got their cut, his royalties from MASH were just enough to make his car insurance payment. Larry passed away on April 10th, 2000, from pneumonia that was brought on from cancer surgery complications. Larry was just 60 years old, way too young. No doubt about it, Larry may have played a character that we love to hate, but Larry himself was a genuinely kind and interesting person, and by all accounts, unlike many of the characters that he played on television, he was just so darn easy to love. I truly miss this guy. Sure, we can watch him on MASH and other television shows to this day, but who knows what his early departure deprived us of? Did he have another great character in him? Sadly, much like how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, the world will never know. Do you have a favorite memory of Larry or Frank Burns? Please feel free to share them in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a thumbs up or maybe even consider subscribing to the channel. I talk about music, movies, and mostly TV from decades gone by. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
Who, may I ask, authorized new computers?
Yeah, who?
You did.
Who did? I did? IBM. Of course I did.
The new IBM Personal System 2. The next generation in personal computing. New computers, new printers, and software. And IBM's new graphics put 256 colors on a screen at once, so our work will be bolder and brighter.
If it'll make him brighter, count me in.
Personal System 2 is faster. Oh, and it has incredible power.
Someone say, power?
It's a miracle. He's following instructions.
Hey, we were made for each other.
Is it easy to use?
Even you could use it.
Can we tie it all together?
Ooh, Personal System 2 has excellent connectivity.
So we can talk to each other?
Only if we have to.
It's just what we need. Who's responsible for this?
IBM!
Introducing the new Personal System 2 family from IBM.